I have gone in with some tulip and I light blocked all the lights on the side, the red lights here on the sides, and then there was some light leaking from some fiber optics for the little red lights that are in the back in here on the cockpit. I still need to combine these wires into one positive and one negative to go down the pole to the base. I also finished the painting on the top part of the hull, the green parts. I also noticed on my reference that there are some scratches that are on these dark green parts, but I didn't see them, so I didn't prep them with the chipping medium, so I'm going to have to hand paint those on with a brush. Also, I have some decals that need to go on also. But so far all of this has been sealed with that Krylon matte finish. So I'm going to do the wiring thing, and then I'm also going to do the weathering and everything on the bottom part here, and then I will be back. Alright, the first round I first painted with this Model Air concrete. I just sprayed it patchy, and then I went over with this dark gray blue Model Air, and then just in streaks, and then I went over with the Model Air mud brown, same thing, just in streaks, and then I went back over it with a light dusting of the Model Air concrete. So this gives me a good base. I did seal it with the matte finish, so this gives me a good base to be able to do the washes, some washes in there, but I'll do that once I get everything together. So now I need to do the wiring, and I'll be back. I have joined all the wires into just one positive and one negative. It's all soldered, and I did some shrink tube. I also cut a little slot out here so it would lay as flat as possible. I will wind up 5-minute epoxying this in here so it doesn't go anywhere. When I have to stick the rod in there, I don't want anything moving around or taking any chances on anything breaking. And I did check it. The lights are working inside the cockpit and also the engines. Nothing's glued yet, but I wanted to make sure everything was in place. I've also started working on the base, which I have a hole drilled here for the button. It'll be the on-off button. I have my rod cut. It's a 5/32 brass rod, and I also put in a block of wood in here and channeled this out for the wires to the battery. And this hole right here is smaller than 5/32, so it won't push any further than where it's at. So what I need to do next is I need to paint the rod black, and then I need to secure it to this piece before I can run the wires through and then start gluing everything together. So I will take care of that, and then I'll be back. I have sprayed the brass tube. I used some of this Krylon Supermax. It's all in one. It's supposed to adhere to everything. Then I 5-minute epoxied everything, the pole and also this little joint here where the wire goes in, so nothing's going anywhere. I put the stabilizers on because I kind of wanted to see the scale compared to the base here. I also put together the box to go over that wood base, or skin as I call it, and I've painted that with the same Krylon. This is Evergreen. This is .060 black styrene. So this, I've got 3 coats on it. I still need to go over it with a wet sand and get some of the little bumps off, because even cleaning it and using a tack rag, it still winds up getting something on it. So this is almost ready to go. So I'm going to work on everything a little bit more, and then I'll get to the wiring part, and then I'll come back for that. The wiring, I have a 3-prong on-off button switch here. So the outside prong gets the positive from the battery, middle prong gets the positive from the ship, and then the outside prong here gets both negatives from the battery and the ship. I will put solder on these prongs, and I'll put solder on the ends of the wires so that when I put it all together, all I got to do is just touch my soldering iron to it and it'll melt and stick. Now this button cap comes off, which works in this case because I'll have to stick this in here, and then I will have to take the button off so that I can put my outside skin on there, and then I'll be able to insert the button. This is my battery holder for a 9-volt, and you can see the way the wires are. That's the reason why I channeled out this piece right here. So once all that is set in, I get everything soldered, then I'll be able to screw in the battery holder and everything should work. So I'm going to do all that, and then I'll be back when everything's put together. Got the decals all put on. This back piece is still loose because I need to do the weathering underneath here before I click it back on there. And then of course there's the guns that go on there, canopy. I do have some weathering still to do underneath here, and a little bit on the engine nozzles before I click those into place. And the base is done. I don't care too much for this paint. I probably won't use it again because it just picks up fingerprints way too easily. So I may wind up, once I get it all done, mask off this and spray another color on there or something. But the wiring's all done, battery's in there, everything works. So I'll hit the little button, get my cockpit lights there, and of course the engine lights. These little bars here didn't spread the light kind of like I was hoping, but that's okay. It still looks pretty cool. So I just got a little bit more to finish up on this, which I'll do off camera. So that's going to do it for the Slave 1 build. I want to thank you guys for watching, and thank you guys for subscribing. And next up will be the finale for the Slave 1.